So this is my Master League draft battle against KrisTBA. So this was actually kind of exciting because this was going to decide who's first or second place of round one in our division. So the stakes are pretty high. Here are our teams. Of course, mine's Giratina, Tyranitar, Groudon, Raikou, Granbull, Hariyama, as always. And his is Dialga, Gyarados, Machamp, Zapdos, Hydreigon, and Alolan Muck. So obviously, Dialga is probably going to be a huge problem. I do have Groudon, Hariyama, and Granbull that all do decently well against it, depending on shield situations. Even Giratina doesn't do that bad, but I'd really rather save Giratina for something like Machamp or even Gyarados and Zapdos. So I've got a lot of decisions to make here, and I don't think I actually planned this out that well. I was definitely just like straight up outplayed, I think, in this match. I did decide, like, okay, so Groudon does pretty well against most of his team, other than Gyarados. So I'm going to leave with Groudon, and if it's anything but Gyarados, I'm okay. Well, of course, it's Gyarados. So I switched to Giratina, which is like pretty sweet, pretty safe. Can take an ancient power. I shield this Crunch. Because I know that, like, if he switches to Dialga now and just says, like, yeah, and just says Dragon Breath, then, like, I'm toast if I don't shield that Crunch. I'm able to hit a couple Dragon Claws here, which is, like, something, but, I mean, it doesn't go that far. Oh, God, those Dragon Breaths just is so much. Oh. Now here he has an Iron Head coming up, and I'm not confident that if I do shield this, I'll be able to get off another charge move. So I decide to not shield it, and I mean, of course I don't, but at least now I have a shield. Switch to Groudon. So I actually put this like exact situation into PvP poke just to see what would happen. I do win the one shield, but if he doesn't shield, that's actually a better way to go, because that means then that I've used both my shields. I've got a Groudon with not that much health, and he has a Gyarados in the back and a Raikou, and I have my Raikou, which can't really do too much. So it's like, yeah, that was a smart play on his part. Gyarados, but I switched to Raikou. This might be actually one of those situations where I want Volt Switch, but I do like the energy generation that you get from Thundershock. And so often I appreciate the neutral damage that Shadow Ball does. So, especially against like a team with a Dialga. So being able to hit the Shadow Ball is kind of nice. Get a Wild Charge off. I was actually like a little surprised to see Machamp here. I think that was actually like a pretty clever play on his part, maybe? Just because it does do like, I mean, I think it actually, with two shields, it does pretty well against most of my team other than Granbull and Giratina. But I'm just thinking about his Rock Slide. I don't know, I definitely wasn't expecting Machamp, so that's something for sure. And like, spoiler alert, I lose this game, so obviously it works. Ooh. Yeah, so that's the first one. Second one, I couldn't figure out like the mind game here. I was like, okay, like usually I will not counter the previous lead, but if Chris knows that, then maybe what I'll do is I will counter the previous lead. Well, then what happens is I put in Raikou, put in Dialga. That's not exactly ideal. I mean, it's not like the worst matchup I have. It's kind of mediocre. I still lose. So I switched to Granbull, which even Granbull against Dialga isn't that great, just because Dialga can hit those Iron Heads fairly quickly. So the only point of this is to be able to just like put out some charms while not taking any damage from Dragon Breath. Thankfully, I'm able to hit this Crunch before another Iron Head, because otherwise that'd be like a tough call in terms of like, should I burn shields or whatever. Now there's an Iron Head. This I will just die. I think Iron Head does something like 173 damage. And Ground Ball has 174 health when it's like full health. So yeah, that's like bad news. Got my Giratina, do a Dragon Claw. Giratina versus Dialga is like, obviously Dialga will win. It's not as like advantageous to be a Dialga in that situation as you would think, but I mean, it's still a lot better to be Dialga in this situation. Man, what a great Pokemon. We've got Zapdos this time. Hit that Dragon Claw. Guess I should have gone for the Ancient Power there, but it is what it is. Now I get the Ancient Power. I guess this is a spoiler alert, but this might be one of the only matches I can remember where I use Ancient Power and like I don't get it boosted at all ever. That would have been nice. I don't know if it would have changed anything, but sure would have been nice. Ooh, this is Zap Cannon. Hits me pretty hard even though I resist it. Here, even though the Zapdos has barely any health, I know that my Thunder Shock isn't doing that much, so that's why I use this charge move. But it's still not looking great for me. Like, here comes a full health Machamp. Just get hit by a couple of counters. My Raikou can't do anything. And then, Giratina, still, like, I think it's like about a third of health. Close combat doesn't do that much damage, but then, this is so clever. I was really impressed by this, actually. Fuck. Yeah, close combat, switch out to take that Dragon Claw. And then here I have, like, no health. And then switch back. Yeah, I was like... This one I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna lose this whole game now. Like, the match of 3. But I'm okay with that, because that was a good play. And now it's done. I know I'm technically immune to fighting, but immunity doesn't mean shit in Pokemon Go. Yeah, that close combat knocks me out. And that's it. So at this point, I've lost, and all I can hope for is to make it 2-1, not a 3-0. Or I guess from my perspective, a 1-2 and not a 0-3. So for this one, I decide to still lead with Raikou. Leads with Zapdos. I also just want to say that Zapdos is so much fun to use in Master League. I was pretty jealous that I didn't get Zapdos. I probably wouldn't have drafted it because I had Raikou at that point, but man, it's such a cool Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. Like, Drill Peck is so spammy. Just a Dialga. See, this is where exactly I want to have that neutral damage that Shadow Ball does. It's like pretty good, right? Now I switch to Groudon. Mudshots actually don't do that bad. It's going to hit me with an Iron Head. Now usually, in this kind of situation, what I would do is I would tank the first one and then shield the second. But just because he has those 2 shields, I decide to shield it just because this is my best shot at taking out the Dialga. So we get off another Earthquake. Man, it would be so nice if Groudon got the Kyogre treatment and got to have some kind of like a 2-bar ground move. That would be so great. It would just make it so much more, I don't know, easier to use. It's basically like not as extreme as a Reggie, but it feels like it's like that, where it's like, yeah, no, you gotta hit those big nukes, and if you don't get them, here I'm just kind of like, fuck it, so that's why I don't get the excellent on the ground, because I'm like, okay, whatever, the Dialga's dead, but I need to try to get those, because otherwise I won't survive. Here I had some lag. It wasn't that bad, so I didn't bother like quitting or anything, but just kept playing. I mean, like I said, at this point I'd already lost, so I would like to win this game if I can, but if I don't win it, it's not the end of the world. We were actually pretty close, I think, for first and second. Basically, this game ended up deciding the points because we ended up both winning 5 out of 7 games, but our like win-loss record of individual games was just like barely off. Something like, what was it? I'll pull it up here. Yeah, 14-7 versus 15-6, so pretty close. Anyways, here we got my Giratina against Machamp. There's the little tickle. Still got a shield, but I've got a almost full health Giratina as a Zapdos, so I'm like doing great. Here I do go for the Dragon Claw, even though it's not going to be super effective, just because I suspect that shield's going up, and it does. And now I can just hit those ancient powers all day. Now, I do know that he has Zap Cannon with Drill Peck. Zap Cannon charges surprisingly quickly on Zapdos, and I don't know, just because Thunder Shock is so great, and hits pretty hard. So I know it's probably coming here, if not a bunch of Drill Pecks. Yeah, so here's a Zap Cannon. It still hits surprisingly hard. He might have still won if he went for a bunch of Drill Pecks, maybe, but I mean, I have Shadow Claw and things like Dragon Claw, so I don't know, I think I was still in pretty good shape here. So that's it. I won that game, but overall I still lost. Great job, Chris. Won the division. And overall, just like great performance.